I'm Henry, and I like history. Especially when it reminds us that sometimes the difference between famine and survival is a route nobody wanted. For most of 18th century France, the potato was not a miracle food. It was a rumor. A suspicious, dirt-covered foreigner blamed for everything from stomachaches to leprosy. Doctors warned against it, officials banned it, and polite society agreed. That thing belongs in a pig trough. Which is awkward, because it turns out the potato was one of the most nutritious, resilient foods Europe had ever seen. And the man who proved it was a pharmacist with no family, no fortune, and an unhealthy level of commitment to public health. His name was Antoine-Augustin Parmentier. Parmentier was born in 1737 in Montdidier, France. His father died when he was young. Money was scarce. College was a luxury he couldn't afford. So at 13, while other kids were learning Latin declensions, Parmentier was learning how to grind powders and mix remedies as a pharmacy apprentice. At 18, he made it to Paris, not for glory, for work. And then history, being history, drafted him into war. During the 7 Years' War, Parmentier served as a military pharmacist. He was wounded, captured by Prussian forces, released, captured again, 5 times. And during those imprisonments, the Prussians fed him something the French considered nearly poisonous: potatoes. Every day. Boiled, mashed, sometimes just there. Parmentier fully expected to fall ill. Instead, he survived. He stayed strong, clear-headed, alive. Which raised an uncomfortable question. If potatoes were so dangerous, why was he not dead? When Parmentier returned to France, he didn't just bring back a theory, he brought proof. France, meanwhile, was living on a knife's edge. Wheat failed often. Bread riots were common. Famine was never far away. Parmentier became obsessed with a single idea. What if France stopped fearing the potato and started eating it? This was not an easy sell. Potatoes had been officially banned for human consumption in parts of France until 1772, blamed, incorrectly, on disease and moral decay. So Parmentier did what any good scientist with terrible odds would do. He turned to marketing. First, legitimacy. He convinced the Paris Faculty of Medicine to actually study the potato. They did, and in 1772, they officially declared it edible. This alone was revolutionary, but Parmentier wasn't finished. Next, prestige. If peasants wouldn't trust the potato, maybe aristocrats could make it fashionable. So Parmentier hosted elaborate dinner parties where every single dish featured potatoes. Soups, roasts, breads, desserts, even potato-based liqueurs, up to 20 courses. Among the guests was Benjamin Franklin, then serving as the American ambassador to France. There's no diary entry from Franklin describing the meal in detail, but contemporaries made sure his presence was remembered. Because when a famous Enlightenment thinker eats potatoes publicly, suddenly the vegetable looks less like livestock feed and more like the future. Parmentier didn't stop there. He enlisted royalty. Marie Antoinette herself wore potato flowers in her hair, not because she loved agriculture, but because Parmentier understood something crucial. People don't eat what's rational, they eat what's desirable. And then came his boldest move: reverse psychology. Parmentier planted potato fields near Paris and posted armed guards around them. During the day, soldiers stood watch. At night, they mysteriously left. Peasants began stealing the potatoes, which was exactly the point. If something was guarded, it must be valuable. Soon, stolen potatoes were being replanted, shared, and quietly normalized. France didn't adopt the potato by decree, it adopted it by curiosity. The cultural shift was enormous. The potato moved from animal feed to famine food to staple. It grew where wheat failed. It fed families cheaply. It stored well. Across Europe, the potato became a safety net. Not glamorous, but reliable. The kind of food that keeps revolutions from starting, or at least delays them. Parmentier himself never married. He had no children. He lived with his sister, Marie-Suzanne, who supported his work and philanthropy. Without a traditional family, Parmentier poured everything into public health, and the potato was just the beginning. Under Napoleon Bonaparte, Parmentier helped organize France's first mandatory smallpox vaccination campaigns. He researched food preservation, refrigeration, and grain storage. And when Napoleon's continental blockade cut France off from Caribbean sugar, Parmentier went back to work. This time, on sweetness. Working with chemists like Jean-Antoine Chaptal, Parmentier developed methods to extract sugar from grapes and beets. Grape sugar worked, but it was expensive. Beet sugar? That scaled. By 1811, Napoleon ordered 32,000 hectares of sugar beets planted across France, launching the modern European sugar industry. For securing France's food independence, Parmentier was awarded the Legion of Honor. Not bad for a man who started with a stolen tuber. There's one more American connection worth noting. Thomas Jefferson also moved in Parmentier's circles. Jefferson later served potatoes in the French manner at the White House, which is a polite way of saying, yes, this is how fries happened. Parmentier died in Paris in 1813. He was 76. Today, his grave at Père Lachaise Cemetery is often decorated with potato plants. Not statues, not speeches, just living proof. The potato didn't save Europe because it was elegant. It saved Europe because it worked. Because one man trusted evidence over fear, curiosity over tradition, and hunger over pride. Sometimes history isn't shaped by kings or battles. Sometimes it's shaped by someone willing to eat what everyone else refuses. Thanks for listening tonight. I'm Henry, and I'll see you in the next story.